Hey everybody, welcome back. This video, we are talking about Gettier problems. So last video, we talked about justified true belief and Socrates' answer to the question of what makes knowledge better than true belief. Now we're going to talk about problems for the account of justified true belief. It's called a Gettier problem, named after Ed Gettier, who published a 3-page paper in the 1960s that gave two counterexamples to the account of justified true belief as knowledge. And Ed Gettier later complained, saying that the paper was too long because one example would have been sufficient and he could have knocked it out in 2 pages rather than 3. So just a lesson in how brevity is not a sign of unimportance or of simplicity or of not working hard, because Gettier's very short 3-page paper changed everyone's thinking about what knowledge is. 3 pages, not very long. That's like a Twitter rant at most. So Gettier argues that justified true belief is not a good account of knowledge. It is not the correct account of knowledge, because you can have a justified true belief that still isn't knowledge. So he says justified true belief may well be necessary for knowledge. Maybe you can't have knowledge without a justified true belief. But a justified true belief is not sufficient for knowledge, Gettier argues. There's something still more to knowledge than just a justified true belief. So justified true belief might be necessary, but it's not sufficient. We can have a justified true belief without having knowledge. And he uses examples that are now called Gettier cases or Gettier problems. So here's an example of a Gettier case. This is a Smith and Jones case. Smith and Jones are 2 people. They work at the same company, and they're both up for a big promotion at work. They're both up for the same promotion, so only one of them can get it. And now, Smith has good evidence that Jones will get the promotion. Let's say Smith was told by the CEO that Jones will get the promotion. That's good evidence, right? If the CEO says Jones is getting the promotion, then Jones is probably getting the promotion. That's as good evidence as any. And let's say Smith also has good evidence that Jones has 10 coins in their pocket. So Jones' pocket contains 10 coins. Maybe they're pennies, maybe they're dimes. I don't care. Whatever details you want to fill in, fill in. Just make sure that in your sort of mental image here, Jones has 10 coins in their pocket. Right? Maybe Smith watched Jones empty their pockets and count out 10 coins. That's good evidence, right? If you watch someone empty their pockets and they count, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they put those coins back in their pocket, great. You have good evidence that they have exactly 10 coins in their pocket. So, from these 2 facts, Smith concludes that the person who's going to get the promotion has 10 coins in their pocket, right? Smith has good evidence that Jones will get the promotion and that Jones has 10 coins in their pocket. So, Jones getting the promotion and having 10 coins in the pocket means that the person who's going to get the promotion has 10 coins in their pocket. So that's what Smith concludes. So Smith believes that the person who's going to get the promotion has 10 coins in their pocket. That is a belief that Smith has. And that belief is justified. Smith has good evidence that it's true. Smith was told by the CEO that Jones was going to get the promotion. And Smith watched Jones count out the coins in their pocket. So Smith has good evidence that the person who's going to get the promotion has 10 coins in their pocket. So Smith has a justified belief. But as a matter of fact, Smith is actually going to get the promotion. Maybe the CEO lied to Smith. Maybe the CEO got overruled by the board of directors. Maybe the CEO changed their mind. Who's to say? But for whatever reason, the CEO was incorrect and Smith is going to get the promotion. And let's say Smith has no idea how many coins they have in their pocket, but in an actual fact, Smith has 10 coins in their pocket also. So Jones has 10 coins in their pocket, but so does Smith. Now, that means Smith's belief that the person who's going to get their promotion has 10 coins in their pocket is true. The person who's going to get the promotion does have 10 coins in their pocket. It just so happens that the person who's going to get the promotion is Smith rather than Jones. Jones has 10 coins in their pocket and isn't getting the promotion. But Smith has 10 coins in their pocket and is getting the promotion. So Smith's justified belief is in fact true. Now, their justification had some mistakes in it, but a justification with mistakes is still a justification. So Smith has a justified true belief that the person who's going to get the promotion has 10 coins in their pocket. But Smith doesn't know that the person who's going to get the promotion has 10 coins in their pocket. It's just dumb luck that Smith's belief happens to be true. Smith has no idea that Smith is getting the promotion, and Smith has no idea that there's 10 coins in their pocket. Smith believes and has a justified true belief that the person getting the promotion has 10 coins in their pocket. But their justification is totally disconnected to the truth. It's just dumb luck that their justification, which is based on Jones and what's going on with Jones's life, happens to line up and match with what's going on with Smith's life and the number of coins in Smith's pocket. So Gettier argues Smith's justified true belief does not count as knowledge. The fact that this justified belief is true is just dumb luck. It's not reliable. If Smith had 9 coins in their pocket, just happened to have 9 coins, then the belief would be false. Same justification, but false. Smith would have the same justification, but the belief would be false. Because the justification isn't really tied to the facts, because the justification is based on thinking Jones is going to get the promotion and that Jones has 10 coins in their pocket. So Smith has a justified true belief, but still doesn't have knowledge. So having a justified true belief is not sufficient for knowledge. You can have a justified true belief, but still not have knowledge. Right? So that's one Gettier case. That comes from Gettier's paper. So that's one example. Smith has a justified true belief, but it doesn't count as knowledge because it's just dumb luck. Now, that's a bit of a weird example with the 10 coins and there's this inference. Let's try another case. Maybe this is a little clearer. So Alice wants to know what time it is. We do that sometimes. Sometimes you're interested in what time it is. So Alice wants to know what time it is. And so she looks at a clock, as one does. And the clock says it's 1 o'clock. And so Alice believes that it is 1 o'clock. And her belief is true. It is 1 o'clock, right? All very boring and normal so far. This happens 100 times a day to millions of people. You look at a clock, you find out what time it is, you believe that it's that time, and you're right, because that's how looking at a clock works. So, Alice has a belief that it is 1 o'clock. And that belief is true. It really is 1 o'clock. And Alice's belief is justified. She didn't just guess what time it was. She didn't flip a coin. She doesn't always believe it's 1 o'clock. She looked at the clock and saw that it said it was 1, and so she came to believe that it was 1. That's what we all do every single day. Perfectly justified in coming to think that it's 1 o'clock, right? So she meets all 3 conditions for knowledge, according to the justified true belief account. She has a belief, that belief is true, and that belief is justified. 1, 2, 3. According to the justified true belief account, Alice has knowledge. Alice knows that it's 1 o'clock now. So she has a justified true belief that it's 1 o'clock. And according to the justified true belief account of knowledge, that means that she necessarily must have knowledge. She knows that it's 1 o'clock. However, the clock Alice looked at was broken. That clock always says 1 o'clock. The batteries died, the hands don't move. It always says 1 o'clock, no matter what time it is. So Alice doesn't really know what time it is. She only believes that it's 1 o'clock when it is because she got lucky by pure coincidence, by sheer dumb luck. She happened to look at the clock at the 1 minute in the day when the clock is right. The 1 minute in the day when the clock wouldn't be wrong. And so Alice has a justified true belief. She did everything right. She wanted to know what time it was. She looked at a clock. She believed the clock, and she got a belief. That's a justified belief. If you want to know what time it is, you look up what time it is. You look at a clock. That's just how you get a justified belief about what time it is. So Alice has a justified true belief, and yet she doesn't have knowledge because the clock was broken. So it's just sheer dumb luck that it happened to be right. Her justification is based on the false assumption that the clock is working. Right? So her justification isn't tied to the time in the way that she thinks it is. She's justified in thinking it's 1 o'clock because, let's say she's justified in thinking the clock works. But the clock doesn't actually work. So her justification isn't tied down to the time, to the facts about what time it is, in the way that one might hope. Because the clock's broken. So what the clock says isn't tied to what time it is. So her belief still isn't tied down in the way that we want knowledge to be tied down, or in the way that knowledge by definition ought to be tied down. So Alice has a justified true belief, but she does not have knowledge. Now, one more case. This is a fun one. This is a sheep case. Suppose you're standing on a hill looking out over a field. I don't know why you're doing that, but that's what you're doing. You're standing out on a hill, you're looking out over a field. Looking down at the field, you see a large barn. And next to that barn, you see what looks exactly like a sheep. And so you conclude that there is a sheep in that field. So you look down in a field, you see a large barn, and next to the barn, you see a sheep. And so you believe that there is a sheep in that field. And your belief is clearly justified. You saw the sheep. Seems pretty clear that we should be justified in believing the things that we see are real. If you see a cup in front of you, you're justified in believing that there's a cup in front of you. Now, in most cases, maybe if you know that you just dropped acid and are about to start hallucinating any minute now, maybe then you're not justified in believing that whatever you see in front of you is real. But normal circumstances, day-to-day life, you're justified. You see something in front of you, you're justified in thinking that it is in front of you, whatever you see. Your eyes lie to you sometimes, but not all the time. So, your belief is justified. But it turns out that what you thought was a sheep wasn't really a sheep. Maybe it was a cardboard cutout of a sheep, or a sheep statue, or a pile of rocks that looked like a sheep, or a dog in a very convincing sheep costume. Whatever it was, it looks exactly like a sheep, but it's not actually a sheep. But behind the barn is a sheep. There really is a sheep in the field, it's just behind the barn, so you can't see it from the hill you're standing on. So there really is a sheep in the field, but it's not the thing you saw that you thought was a sheep. What you saw was, let's say, a dog in a very convincing sheep costume. Who's to say why they were in a sheep costume? I don't know what dogs do. I don't know why a farmer would put their dog in a sheep costume. Maybe they thought it was funny. So You saw what looked exactly like a sheep. You were perfectly justified in thinking that it was a sheep, but it's not a sheep. So you had a justified belief that there was a sheep in that field. And your belief was true. There was a sheep in that field. So you had a justified true belief that there is a sheep in the field. But your belief is not knowledge. You don't know that there's a sheep in the field. It's dumb luck that there's a sheep behind the barn that you can't see that happens to make you right. You thought the cardboard cutout or the dog in a costume or whatever was a sheep, and you were wrong about that. So your justification is not tied to the facts. Your justification that there's a sheep in the field has nothing to do with the actual sheep that's actually in the field, because that is behind the barn and you can't see it and you have no idea that it's there. If that sheep wasn't there, if there was no sheep in the barn, behind the barn, then the scene would look exactly the same to you. You would have exactly the same justification, but your belief would be false. So your belief is justified and it's true, but it's not knowledge because it's still not reliable and tied to the facts in that important way that we want it to be. So that's a Gettier problem. There's a couple Gettier problems. You see a sheep, but it's not really a sheep, but there really is a sheep you can't see, and so you have a justified true belief it's not knowledge, or the clock case, or the coins, the promotion case. There are lots of Gettier cases. We've had over 50 years now to come up with Gettier cases, and people have come up with a lot of them. So Gettier problems seem to show that having a justified true belief is not sufficient for knowledge. And so philosophers have tried to come up with a fourth condition for knowledge that can be added to the justified true belief account of knowledge. Because justified true belief still seems necessary. It seems like you can't believe it if it's not true. Or I mean, you can't know it if it's not true. You can't know it if you don't believe it. And you can't know it if you're completely unjustified in believing it. So it looks like justified true belief is a good necessary condition for knowledge. It turns out not to be sufficient, thanks to these Gettier problems. But it looks necessary still. So it still looks like a good necessary condition for knowledge. So what we need is just some fourth condition. We need a fourth condition that we can add that will be sufficient for knowledge. And the hope is that adding a fourth condition, a so-called Gettier condition, because it will avoid these Gettier problem cases. The hope is that adding a fourth condition will rule out the Gettier cases and explain why we don't have knowledge in those cases, what it is that's missing in those cases that prevents us from having knowledge. But no adequate fourth condition has been found yet. There is no philosophical consensus about what the right fourth condition is so far. It's been an active topic of study and debate for 50 years now, and no one is sure what the right answer is yet. There have been lots of cases, lots of ideas suggested. One idea is that your justified true belief has to be caused by whatever the belief is about. Turns out there's Gettier cases for that. That doesn't work. One idea was that your belief can't be inferred from false beliefs. It can't be based on any false beliefs. Turns out there are Gettier cases for that. Someone tried a counterfactual account so that if the thing you believe was false, then you wouldn't believe it. Turns out there's Gettier cases for that too. So no, every condition that anyone's tried so far, it's turned out you can create Gettier cases for those conditions. So there's no adequate condition yet. No one has solved this problem yet. This is an unsolved problem in philosophy right now. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any ideas and you want to talk about it, great. let me know. That's all we're talking about this week. This is the end of the last video. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to talk about this, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next week.